Alright, this is that unboxing video I have not been doing for the last few weeks. This didn't come from Amazon because Amazon didn't get enough to fulfill pre-orders. So I got it from some random on eBay. This is Daredevil. Well, let's get it out. This is Daredevil Epic Collection, Dead Man's Hand. That is what I bought it from. They also included junk mail. And one of the very first things I've noticed about this trade is that they have deliberately left Chuck Dixon's name off the cover because he is guilty of wrong thought. This is volume 16, and now we have the entire Doggy Chichester run, and we have it before finishing Ann Nonsense, and before having a single bit of Hank Miller. Terrible. This one has the Dead Man's Hand crossover in it, a crossover between Daredevil and two other books. And I find it bizarre to not use a cover with all three of those characters on it. You're naming the trade after the crossover, and who cares? Zero thought or effort goes into these covers anymore. They are a pile of crap, and despite the amount of work that goes into these collections massively decreasing, they still have the goal to jack the price up another tenner. Right, I didn't like this run at all. I think this is a piss poor writer. This is maybe the worst run on Daredevil. And yes, I am including Michael Brian Benson and Martin Quaid in that. Those are both bad, but this is a different type of bad. This is actively annoying in its desperation to be deep. The other bad Daredevil runs are bad comics, but this is miserable dreck from a twat who thinks he is as good as Hank Miller and is continuing his work. He does direct sequels to Hank Miller Daredevil stories, and he thinks what they needed was his own creator's pet, Terror Inc. Fucking awful character. And he pops up in every comic this writer does. It's just full of pretentious symbolism and metaphor and dreary bullshit and nonsensical prattling on. We have got an annual, which I have not read, and it is written by someone else, so it might be good. It does feature Bushwhacker Bob, one of my favourite Marvel Universe bad guys. He's in Dead Man's Hand too, which we get to after that annual. Dead Man's Hand is a crossover with Punisher and Nomad. Surely this is what you put on the front cover. Fucking idiots. And I actually have reviewed both the first Punisher and Nomad parts of the crossover. This one here, the Punisher one, surprisingly good. And it has Madam Hydra in it, trying to seduce Punisher. And then the first part of Nomad is, in my opinion, the strongest issue of that entire series. Bushwhacker Bob is in it, but the main thing to note is we have an appearance, a very, very early appearance of Dead Pills. The Punisher and Nomad parts raise the quality of this trade paperback a little, but I promised that I would discuss why I get something like this and why I tend to get trades of stuff that I say I didn't like. My belief is that while something like this I didn't like now, I might like it in 20 or 30 years' time. Maybe at the age of 21, when I first read it, I was not into it for external reasons. Or maybe my tastes have or will continue to evolve or change. I have seen this happen with a lot of Van Morrison. I still love their Excellent Men run. If anything, I love that more and more each time I read it. But most of their other work I find either a chore to read now or flatly indecipherable. I really didn't understand Final Christmas. The 2 issues of Final Christmas I have, I sat down once and read them because I wanted to review them. And I got 1 or 2 scenes, straightforward bits, but it's like the most inaccessible comic book around. And I have read most of Van Morrison's work. There's Terror Inc. again. But yeah, maybe when I am 64, I will be mad into this crap Daredevil shite. By the way, that is a Paul McCartney reference. When I'm 64. Anyway, yeah, I was going to say, maybe in years to come, I will be mad into this run. I want to give it another chance eventually. I will likely hate it again because I really did think it was an idea for Daredevil and 90s comics. But it's nice to have these things and have the option to revisit it. There are things that I have turned around on and started liking. David Peter Hulk. I always liked the first stretch, the Todd McFarlane bits, but then I felt the series stopped being a Hulk book and became a David Peter book. For a few years I didn't care for him and thought he was an arse, but I've come back around and started appreciating him for stuff I wrote off or didn't enjoy before. He still has a lot of faults as a writer. He very much has a tone that can quickly become insufferable, and any time he has to acknowledge a wider universe or other writers handling characters differently, he is a nightmare. But he can write a good story arc. I prefer to single his story arcs out rather than try and read a whole run by him now. Especially the 2000s Extra Factor series. That becomes so monotone. I have never managed to get past 4 or 5 trades of it. I've read latter ones by themselves and enjoyed them, but I can't handle that much David Peter. There are ones that I think I'll never like though. Kurt Busey, I think his writing is awful. The way he writes comics, not his ideas or his stories or his retcons. I think the way he actually writes scripts is terrible. He always has the caption boxes and then interrupts them with dialogue and then just continues on with whatever is in the caption boxes, like he hasn't just interrupted it, and you're meant to be following 2 different bits of writing at once. Michael Bryan Benson, I had 1 week in 2008 when I thought he was good, and that was enough. I cannot see me ever turning around on him. There's another cover that I could have used for the front. And then we have got an Infinity Wars tie-in, which is also a sequel to Todd McFarlane's Torrent story. We have Daredevil's double gagger. Oh, actually, this is written by Master Erdlin, so this probably wasn't that bad. But yeah, it is intended as a spiritual sequel to Torrent. And oddly, there is a pin-up of Daredevil's double gagger. It is a two-parter. I'll be honest, there are worse prospects in this collection than a two-parter by Master Erdlin. This is the bit where I have to play a clip of the videos he makes. This Daredevil stuff, my hopes aren't high for it, but maybe when I do reassess it one day, I might find parts of it alright, which is more than I found first time around. Other than when he banged Thyroid Mary on a rooftop, I did not enjoy any of this run, and the art gets much worse after this collection. We get Tom Grindbergers. That's this Epic Collection. I'm sorry I haven't talked much about its contents. I didn't care for the contents at this moment, but I may do one day. I will rate it 7 thumbs up.